Satsuki exited the storehouse. It wasn't snowing. With the coast clear, she trod across the snow in her sandals. She could hear the faint beating of a drum coming from the shrine office. They must have been preparing for the festival. Satsuki surveyed the shrine grounds. Piles of lumber sat in corners untouched by the snow, most likely set aside for the festival. She'd heard that they'd have modest stalls set up on that day. Furthermore, it also seemed they were building a stage in front of the main shrine. That was where the oracle would dance. It was the main purpose and attraction of the festival. Satsuki descended the stairs to Kamihina.
Oh.
She bumped into Ayato at the crossroads. He was carrying a paper bag.
ちょっとお菓子を買いに行ってたんだ。キャラメルとか水飴とか。
へえ。
Satsuki looked in the bag. Inside, she spotted a jar and red boxes of caramel.
それじゃあ行こうか、さっちゃん。
Saddy.
ええ。
The two of them strolled toward Hidarahina together.
それでさ、才蔵じいさんに怒られたんだよ。
The pair chatted as they ascended the hill.
お国の大事な時に遊びほうけるのはいけないとか言われたけどさ。
そうですよね。
Satsuki nodded.
でも少しでも文句を言おうものならまた説教が始まるからね。
Ayato tried to open the door to the secret base.
あれ？開かないよ。
扉の桟に雪が詰まってますよ。
Satsuki pointed to the bottom of the door. The wind had buried it in heaps of icy snow.
本当だ。これ持ってて。
Ayato handed his bag to Satsuki, crouched down and brushed the snow away with his hands.
うわ、凍ってる。
これ使えばいいので。
Satsuki dragged over a pointed shovel that had been left against the wall. The tip had been submerged in the snow, meaning there was ice stuck to it.
ありがとう。
Ayato smashed the ice, sealing the door with the tip of the shovel. The ice shattered and scattered about.
あともう少しかな。
Satsuki tried opening the door. She managed to get it partially ajar with a loud clatter.
少しずつ動かしてくれる？
あ、はい。
Ayato whittled and scraped off the ice stuck to the edges of the door. Eventually, it opened enough for one person to fit through at a time.
先に入って。
わかりました。
Satsuki turned her body sideways, slipped inside, still carrying the bag. Ayato took off his scarf and opened the windows to help ventilate the hut.
まずは火をつけないとな。
At that, he pulled some matches out of the bag. Satsuki scraped the leftover charcoal out of the ash still in the brazier. She then set newspapers aflame and placed them atop the charcoal.
時間か。
寒いんだったらそこの布団にくるまっていればいいよ。
Satsuki turned around. A futon was laid out there. It was the one Yu Hutami had brought over.
あ、着物にシワができるかな。
いや、それは構わないのですが、リヒトさんもその
And y'all can
寒
cuddle.
くはないのですか？
僕は平気だよ。
Ayato checked the brazier.
でも
Satsuki figured Ayato was just putting on a brave face. After all, he wasn't exactly convincing, seeing on how he was curled up into a ball and shivering from time to time. Despite that, he still kept an eye on the weak yet persistent newborn fire in the brazier, ensuring it didn't go out.
リヒトさん、
Satsuki turned to Ayato, his back still facing her.
なんだい？
一人では寒いので。
Get over here and cuddle me, big boy. Satsuki took a folded blanket and threw over Ayato's shoulders. She then sat next to him, paying no heed to his surprise. Aw, this is so cute.
二人とも暖かいです。
さっちゃん。
Saddy.
あ、ほら、火が消えてしまいますよ。
Fire! Satsuki interrupted Ayato and pointed to the brazier.
うん。
Ayato fed the flames some more newspaper. His arm brushed against Satsuki every time he tossed some into the brazier. The charcoal kindled red. But due to how braziers worked, it didn't warm up the room right away. So Satsuki and Ayato huddled together for heat.
まだ寒いのかい？
いいえ。
Satsuki shook her head. What do I do? Can't think of anything to say. Simply being next to Ayato had rendered her mind a total blank. It was taking all her effort just to keep him from noticing the racing of her heart.
さっちゃん。
Saddy. Satsuki's voice came out shrill when Ayato practically whispered into her
これ
ear.
食べるかい？
Ayato whipped out some murin-fried shrimp rice crackers from his bag.
水飴を塗って挟んで食べれば美味しいよ。
あ、はい。
The salmon orange rice crackers in question were
あ
tiny.
れ？水飴が固まっちゃってる。
Ayato thrust a pair of disposable chopsticks into the jar of starch syrup.
温めればいいのでは。
Satsuki took the jar and set it atop the braziers kettle stand. The two of them kept waiting without so much as budging. Another awkward silence fell over them. Satsuki munched on a rice cracker. It was salty, yet also sweet. She looked up to find Ayato also chewing on a cracker.
先に食べちゃうと水飴が溶ける前になくなっちゃいそうだけど。
Ayato chuckled.
他には何を買ってきたんですか？
キャラメルの他にはポン菓子とコンペイトーかな。
あ、コンペイトーをいただいてもいいですか？
うん、もちろん。
Ayato pulled some sugar candy wrappers out of the bag.
ありがとうございます。
Satsuki rolled the star-shaped candies around her palm. Eventually, she picked up a light pink one and popped it into her mouth. The sweetness within oozed out as she bit into it. It was a very cute sound.
幸せそうな顔してる。
Satsuki was taken aback by Ayato's abrupt commentary.
私、その...
Satsuki hung her head, her voice hardly a whisper on the wind.
そっか。よかった。
Satsuki raised her head. Ayato was looking away from her, a bashful smile on his face.
ねえ、リヒトさん。
Kiss.
何？
Satsuki threw a piece of candy into Ayato's mouth the moment he turned toward her.
どうですか？
甘い。
An obvious conclusion if there ever was one.
まだいります？
Satsuki brought another piece of candy to Ayato's mouth after he nodded. At that moment, his lips skimmed her fingertips. Afterwards, she pinched another piece of candy between those fingers and popped it into her own mouth. When she'd finished, she licked her fingers a little. Though sweet, that couldn't be called an indirect kiss.
そろそろいいかな。
Ayato reached out and grabbed the syrup jar. However, the scalding heat had him hastily setting it on the floor.
大丈夫ですか？
Satsuki instinctively took his hand.
うん。ちょっとだけ熱くて驚いただけだから。
そうですか。
うん。あ、ほら、水飴もいい感じになって。さっちゃん。
Saddy. Ayato cocked his head when he realized Satsuki hadn't released his hand.
の...
Kiss. Satsuki stared intently at Ayato's fingertips. They were a bit red, though she couldn't tell whether that was from the burn or not. Doesn't matter. You know, okay. I would have just gone for the kiss at that point. Nah, you know, it'd be less weird. I just start sucking on his fingers. Yeah, no. That's very normal. That's what people usually do in the case of slight burns. Satsuki stuck Ayato's finger into her mouth.
さっちゃん。
Saddy. Ayato pulled his hand back in surprise, but Satsuki refused to let go.
さっちゃん。
Saddy. Satsuki opened her mouth, releasing Ayato's finger. A bridge of saliva momentarily connected them.
やけどしていたらいけないから。
You realize he grabbed that with his whole hand, right? It's not like he picked up a whole jar with just one finger. So, you got more fingers to get to there, Satsuki. Satsuki thought up a half-baked lie on the spot. Even she knew she was making excuses. She just wanted to feel more of him.
さっちゃん。
Saddy.
綾人さん。
Kiss! Satsuki called him by name and leaned against him. She could hear his heart pounding. It rang with the ferocity of an alarm.
興奮している
I
の
mean,
で
if
す
y'all
か？
want to take it some steps beyond kissing, by all means, I ain't gonna stop you. It's way better than what I had to witness earlier. But, you know, I'm just here to see the kiss. That's all I want. That's all I want to see. If you take it a step beyond, I kind of expected you to take it a step beyond. But if you do, I won't judge you. But let's not jump the gun, is what I'm saying. Let's not, put the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? Satsuki pushed her hand against Ayato's chest.
仕方ないだろ。
Ayato looked away. His face was flushed all the way to his ears.
私もドキドキしています。
Kiss. Now, see, you're skipping some steps. You're skipping some steps. There should have been a nice, sweet first kiss, right? And then things could have escalated, sure. I feel like you just the moment was so right for a nice, sweet little innocent kiss, right? And then it would have been perfectly fine to follow it up with some less innocent content, right? But the kiss, there should have been a nice little kiss, right? So that even our all ages viewers will actually, I don't think you can actually finish the game if you're an all ages viewer, but then our all ages viewers could have a nice little romantic moment, like a nice little sweet kiss, and then it like fades to black and it's all over with, right? But nah, y'all just go, oh, are you in the mood? Cool. Touch my titty. Like, skipping some steps. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The moment isn't ruined, but from a viewer's perspective, specifically this viewer's perspective, I feel a little let down. Satsuki took Aito's hand and pressed it against her chest.
よくわからないよ。
Aito was still blushing something fierce.
服の上からだとわかりませんよね。
Satsuki guided Aito's hand under her clothes, as though delirious with a fever. Now see, I gotta cover that up. So now our all ages viewers at home, where's the sweet kiss? There should have been a sweet kiss for our viewers at home. That's all I'm saying. Because now the people watching the video, you don't get to see what comes next. I'm like, obviously I'm talking right. I'm gonna throw something up to censor this right now, obviously. But like, the rest of it, y'all don't get to see none of that. Go buy the game yourselves if you want to see that. But or like, I don't know. I'm sure there's a way you can find the screenshots without buying it. But just a sweet little kiss. That's all I asked for. Just a sweet little first kiss. That's all I asked for. I feel it would have been a nice touch. But no, y'all had to jump the gun. They're like, no. We gotta. We let him down with the incest scene, so now let's give him the sweet scene. I'm like, yes, the sweet scene, but like, let's not jump straight to the naughty. Let's have a little innocence beforehand. I'm let down, all right? I'm let down. This is a much sweeter scene already than what I had to experience earlier. I've already said that, but bears repeating. But like, this could have been better. It could have been better. We're so close to greatness, so close to perfection, but you dropped the ball right at the finish line. You hate to see it. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna watch some stuff and cut back to when you can watch some stuff. Satsuki gave him a little peck on the lips as soon as he turned toward her. I forgot to do this earlier. Okay, but I wanted to see the scene. The scene. It's all about the scene. Seeing that first kiss, it would have been a sweet moment. Now it's just like, oh yeah, here's this visual of him groping her titty. They did have a sweet little kiss, and she said, oh, I guess I missed a step. I appreciate them acknowledging it. I do. But you didn't have the scene. You could have cut in like this little, like one of those mini images, right? You could have cut in a nice little scene of them smooching. It would have been sweet. It would have made up for what you lacked beforehand, but you still so close. You took it from a 9 out of 10 to a 9.5 out of 10, but you still can't reach that 10 out of 10 because you're not quite giving us what we need here. And by us, I mean me specifically, just me. Anyway.
さっちゃん、僕も。
Yeah, Sadie. Okay, now see, it cuts to this scene where they're post-kiss, but it's too late. It's too late now. This isn't the first kiss. Come on. Come on, you're taking it from a 9.5 to the 9.75, right? You're so close to greatness. You're so close to getting there. But like, you can't hit that 10 out of 10 now. You can't hit it because it's not the first kiss. It's the first kiss we gotta see. Like, yes, this post-kiss scene is nice. having something that focuses on the kiss itself and less on the sexual stuff, I love it. But it's not the first kiss. It's not the first kiss. That's what we needed. That's what would have brought it to perfection. And we were so damn close. You had all the necessary ingredients, but you baked the cake in the wrong order. I don't know how you do that, but somehow you did it. So close. See, if this CG would have popped up before the sex stuff, and it wasn't even sex stuff, it was just some, titty touching, which is pretty PG-13 at this point. Amazing. Perfect. But then even afterwards, if we would have said, oops, I forgot to do something, and then it cuts to this, then, you could have brought it back. You could have brought it back. But you just happened to gloss over the first kiss, which is an important moment, and then just cut to, oh, now they're just, making out sloppy style. And that's fine. But, and I don't want to be so hypercritical, I don't. Especially not having to deal with the fucking disturbing Fumiya Chizuru scene. I don't want to be too hypercritical of something that's genuinely nice, something that's enjoyable, right? Something I can appreciate. But it's just the smallest detail, the smallest little detail could have just made this amazing. No pun intended with that little chef's kiss either, but it was just, had to. Alright, anyway, I've rambled on long enough about this. I love how just honest Ayato is. How is it for you? I'm not really sure. Which, yeah, no, it's homie's first time. Obviously, he's not sure of what he's doing. I just love how honest he is. He's just like, I don't know how it is right now, to be honest. I don't know if what's going on is good or not. Not quite sure. This is a first for me. I do like Ayato. I'm not gonna lie. Normally I don't cut into the sex scenes too much like this, but like the dialogue is actually pretty sweet. He's trying to like reassure, saying, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be any good at this. She stiffens up. He's trying to reassure and whatnot. He wraps his fingers around hers and grips them with all his might. They're holding hands, having this very sweet moment. I just want to acknowledge how sweet this scene actually is. Obviously, I was talking a lot of shit about the whole where's the first kiss, which I still stand by that, right? But I feel like it's worth pointing out how sweet this scene actually is, how nice it is. I hope it ends nice. Like, in the back of my mind, I have like this worry that fucking Karen's gonna walk in on it. That's like the worry in the back of my mind that might happen. I really hope that this scene has a nice conclusion to it, because it genuinely has been very sweet up to this point. I just felt it was worth acknowledging that. Alright, it did have a nice conclusion. There was no unwanted visitors to the secret hideout. Good. Glad to hear it. Or maybe there was, right? Maybe at the end of this scene, we're gonna cut to see Karen's perspective, and she's like hearing all this from outside the shack, and she like runs away crying. No, he can't. Ah. But genuinely, very nice scene. Very cute. Very, very, very well done. A very nice palate cleanser after what happened earlier. Good job. Obviously, I did have one little note. Just saying. I'm not gonna remind y'all, alright? But hey. Is what it is. The pair cuddled under the futon. Though they were both still naked, neither of them felt all that cold since they were sharing body heat.
水飴
Idol glanced over the syrup
ま
jar.
た固まってしまってますね。
The forgotten syrup jar had gone cold, its contents solidified once
こ
again.
のくらいだったらまだ
Idol stuck a pair of chopsticks into the jar and stirred the syrup with all his might.
大丈夫みたいだ
He then smeared the softened syrup across one of the rice crackers.
さっちゃん
ありがとうございます。
Ah yes, the post-coital snack, of course. Satsuki took the cracker and nibbled on it. Sweet taste of silky smooth syrup danced across her mouth.
美味しいです。
よかった待った甲斐があったね
Ayato smiled.
リヒトさん、
Sasuke addressed Ayato, calling him by his nickname once again.
なんだい？
約束。
約束？ああ、ライチョウの絵だ
Oh,
ね。
right. I had forgotten about that one.
あの後、ライチョウは見つかりました？
それがまだなんだ。やっぱりもう少し山の上に行かないと見つからないかも。
Is that gonna play into like the present day story? I don't know if she will have a presence in the present day, but is that gonna be like part of it? Like at one point, present day Ayato is gonna see that bird, and like there's gonna be a moment. He's gonna get all filled with emotions.
そうですか。
いつか必ず見つけるから、もう少し待っていてくれるかい？
ええ、必ず。
Satsuki held her pinky out to Ayato.
指切りしましょう。
うん。
指切り玄満、嘘ついたら針千本のます。
March 3rd had finally arrived. Oh, no issues? Oh, I love it. I love it. It's just a sweet moment. No immediate conflict rising up from that moment. I love it. Love to see it. Very nice. I'm sure there'll probably be some kind of consequences later on. They'll be like, what? She's been defiled? But the ritual calls for a virgin. Oh no! Who did this? Who is responsible? Some bullshit like that. We'll see. A stage had been erected in front of the shrine, flanked on both sides by stalls. Numerous casks of sake had been brought in to satisfy the attendees. The settlement was in full swing for this annual event, though perhaps it was more accurate to describe it as the first real festival in nearly 2 decades.
あれ、ナナコは祭りに行かないのか？
ええ、日中はここで待機していないといけないし。
酔いつぶれて石段を踏み外すやつが必ず出るからな。
そのままここまで転がってくるのか？
そんなわけないでしょ。
Nanako giggled.
直りは隼人君らと見に行くのか？
ああ、そのつもりだけど、そろそろ来るんじゃないかな。
わしも七子君と待機だよ。ゆずるは親族の手前少し顔を見せるとか言っていたがね。
変なことするなよ。
させません。
The door to the examination room opened, revealing Yuzuru.
直り、二見旅館のお嬢さんが来てるぞ。
若女将が？
おはよう。
Yuzuru backed away, allowing Yu to enter the living room.
おはよう。グリコは一緒じゃないのか？
おひなたちを迎えに行ってるんじゃないかな、多分。
Yu sat in a chair.
じゃああとはあいつら待ちか。
そうね。
ああ、そうそう。フミヤと千鶴も行っているようだから。
もう行ってるのかい？
Very odd choice to say the least, considering nothing was even open this early.
千鶴ちゃんが写真を撮りたがっていたのよ。東京じゃ大きなお祭りもできなくなっているみたいで。
世知辛い世の中だな。
So shook his head.
山の中にいたら戦争なんて関係ないように思えてくるからね。
でも外からのお客様は減ってるわよ。お祭りの時は宿もいっぱいになるのに、今年は数人だけっておばあちゃんがぼやいてたもの。
もともと外の人には関係ない祭りだろう。何しに来るんだろうな。
祭り自体は内輪のものとはいえ、何百年も続いている伝統行事だからな。外からの見学者だってそりゃいるだろう。
そうですよね。
The door opened just as Nanako nodded, permitting Ayato, Karen, and Meguri to finally make their appearance.
もう来たか？
おはようございます、ラオちゃん。あ、若女将先に来てたんだ。
ええ。
それじゃあ行くか。さすがにこの人数じゃ狭くて仕方ない。
The group stood before the stairs to Shigisa's shrine. Villagers were making their way up them.
あ、才蔵じいさん。
ああ、悪ガキども。
Saizo teased the 5 friends with a bamboo broom in hand.
何をしてるんですか？
見てわからねえのかい。ジジババが転ばないように雪を吐いてるんだよ。
Though his attitude left some things to be desired, his actions spoke louder than his words. That was just the kind of person Sizel Cookie was.
たっただ一枚だ。お前さん方にだって甘酒ぐらいは振る舞ってくれるだろうさ。
そうですね。
The gang passed Sizel and ascended the stone staircase.
ねえおひな、
Meguri surreptitiously beckoned Karen over a short distance away from the others.
何？リヒトに何かあったん？どうして？何か雰囲気違わない？
Doesn't he seem like someone who fucks? Meguri whispered in a hushed voice. The other times we've hung out with him, he always seemed like such a virgin, but now he looks like he totally crushes puss.
そうは思わないけど。
Karen cocked her head. I don't think anything else is different about him. He looks over, he's just wearing a t-shirt that says, I fucked. Like, you sure you don't notice anything different about him at all? She and her brother spent every day together, yet she hadn't noticed any particular change in him.
そうかな。気のせいじゃないのかしら。
恋をしてる。
You suddenly chimed in from behind, dropping that bombshell.
どういうこと？
いや、別に適当に言ってみただけだけど。
I love her. You took a few shaky steps back, though she hadn't expected Meguri to rise up in arms about the matter.
相手は誰でしょうか？
いや、だから、適当だからね、おひな。
もしかしていち早く変化に気づいた私とか？それはないと思いますけど、兄様がグリコのことを話題にしたことは
I doubt it. He doesn't talk about you at all.
分
Ouch.
かってるけどさ、
Yeah, no
ここまで
shit.
あからさまに否定されるとちょっと悲しい。
I don't think so. Fuck, dude.
だから、
Rough.
適当に言っただけのことだからね。
そんなに気になるんだったら直接聞けばいいじゃないか。
Now I suddenly joined in the conversation. And so what is Ayato just walking all by himself now while all his friends are like walking ahead of him? He's just like, what the fuck's going on, guys?
なおちゃんには関係ありませんから。
じゃあリヒトを呼ぶか？
Now he turned his attention to their friend walking slightly ahead of the... Oh, I see. He's ahead of the rest of them. Okay, that makes more sense. He's not really focused on the people around him. He's like got his head in the clouds thinking about other things, right? Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I thought when they said like they had changed their pace to separate themselves from the rest of the group, I thought that meant they had gone ahead of them. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? How does Ayato not notice that? But okay. Behind him makes a lot more sense.
ダメですってば。
Nah, dare, homie, dare. But yo, Rito, who'd you stick your dick in recently, huh?
冗談だよ。
Naori laughed.
何が冗談？
Even Ayato was drawn to the conversation by that point.
何でもありませんから。そう何でもないからね。
Karen and Meguri nodded.
そう？
Ayato marched on ahead with Naori, never suspecting a thing.
恋をしてるって感じじゃないかも。
You sighed. The path to the shrine was bordered by stalls on both sides, the giant stage sitting right in front of the main shrine hall.
さすがは巫女がいる祭りだな。去年まではここまで大きくなかったからね。去年まで舞を奉納していたのは代理のさやさんだったろ。巫女がいるとここまで違うんだね。そういや、さっちゃんの姿が見えないな。
Sadie. Naori deliberately put emphasis on her name. Hell yeah, he did.
そりゃ、さっちゃんだって忙しいんじゃないかな。
Ayato sounded somewhat distant.
誘わないのか？なおちゃん分かってて聞いてない？別にさっちゃんが巫女だと決まったわけでもないだろ。ダメ元で誘ってみろよ。
Naori turned to the shrine office and gave Ayato a literal push on the back. Ayato stumbled forward into the office.
まあ、さっちゃんが巫女だったら無駄だろうけどさ。
Addie. I don't know why you wouldn't just admit to actually saying that you asked her. Like, that's that gonna do? It's like, why don't you just ask her, dude? Oh, you know, I couldn't possibly ask her. So with that statement, you're already implying that you would like to ask her, and we already know that you did ask her. But she said that she wouldn't be able to on the day of the festival. You could just simply tell him that. I don't know why that's information you need to hide. Be like, oh, actually, I did ask her, but she said she wouldn't be available the day of the festival. And he's like, oh, that's rough, buddy. Anyway, I don't know why you'd bother hiding that fact, but all right. The odds of that, we're high after all.
やっぱりさっちゃんはミコなの？
Saddy. You interjected from behind.
そうじゃないか。
まあ他に該当者もいないわけだし。
よそから宿に泊まってる客の中にそれらしいのはいないのか？
みんなおじさんだったわよ。
しぐさ家のお客様は代々ひな神家に嫁いでるって話知ってるか？
That's some bullshit, isn't it? He just wants to see Ayato's reaction, right? The guest is supposed to marry into the family. He's like, what? Really? 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 Are you sure? Are you sure? Really?
おばあちゃんに聞いた。よそに話しちゃいけないって言われてるけど。
Unless the problem is that she's gonna get married to his father, which I think is probably gonna be the twist.
俺も小耳に挟んだだけだからはっきりしたことはわからないけど、ミコがいる間はお客様もいるみたいだな。
そうなんだ。
Still, such circumstantial evidence wasn't enough to serve as definitive proof that the oracle and guest were one and the same.
憶測はあまり口にしない方がいいんじゃない？
Of course not. Then you wouldn't be able to see Ayato's reaction.
じいさんばあさんに怒られるだろうからな。
Naori chuckled sardonically. He thought Gato was rather insular when it came to such things, probably because they were a remote settlement in the mountains. And things got especially secretive whenever they concerned the heads of the village.
そんなことを暴き立てても。
友達がいれば十分だろう。
Naori pointed at the shrine office. You looked over to find Ayato emerging from there with Satsuki.
やあ、さっちゃん。
Saddy.
皆様こんにちは。
Satsuki bowed her head.
本日はお誘いくださいまして。別に誘ったのは兄様だし。
Shut up, Karen. Karen was clearly in a foul mood. Good. Fuck you.
せっかくのお祭りなんだからみんなで遊ぶ方がいいでしょ？
そうね。
You nodded.
じゃあ何から食べようか。
Ayato scanned the stalls. Since they were deep in the mountains, there were no entertainers or hawkers to be found like at other festivals. Just stalls run by familiar faces from around the settlement.
私たこ焼き食べたいな。おひなは？そうね。綿菓子もいいわね。
What are you in the mood for, Satsuki?
若女将は？
私はそうね。
いい人たちは？僕はさっちゃんは何がいい？
Saddy.
あ、私はよくわからないので。
リンゴ飴でいい？
あ、
I
はい。
recommend the candied apple. Sasuke nodded.
多分さっちゃん、リンゴ飴がどんなのか知らないよな。
Saddy. It's fine. Yeah, watch Ayato be like, no, it'll be fine. She likes sweet stuff. She's like, how do you know that? How do you know she likes sweet stuff, bud? How'd you find that information out? Naruto covertly whispered into Ayato's ear.
多分ね、驚くんじゃないかな。
何か？
Satsuki cocked her head and studied the pair.
なんでもないよ。
Ayato scurried over to Satsuki, took her by the hand, and strolled off.
とてもおひなやグリコには
俺たちも手つないでおくか？
遠慮しておくわ。
You shot down Naruto's joke like it was nothing before joining Satsuki on her trek to the candied apple stall.
やれやれ。
Naruto spotted a girl holding a camera at the ready out of the corner of his eye. It was Chizuru. Oh. I'm sitting there like, wait, is there some kind of like journalist here about to just... I had totally forgotten who Chizuru actually was for a moment. I was like, wait, who the fuck's Chizuru? Oh my god, who's this new person they're introduced? I'm like, oh, right. There's a reason I tried to purge you from my fucking brain. Fumiya was right beside her, his hand wrapped in bandages.
写真。
Personally, he didn't see the appeal of photographing a paltry festival out in the sticks, especially considering how grand the festivals at Asakusa and Kanda he'd seen in the papers had looked in comparison.
おちゃん。
Karen and Meguri returned just then.
はい。
Karen presented takoyaki on a stick, or rather a toothpick to be exact.
このまま食ったら熱いよな。
Not only was it steaming, but the dried bonita flakes coating it stirred from the heat.
男だったら一口だよね。
わかったよ。
Now he stuffed his cheeks with the takoyaki. It was blazing hot. Luckily, he managed to swallow it thanks to the cool air all around.
すごい。本当に食べちゃった。
お前らな。
なおちゃんはおだてれば何でもやってみようとするから。
You came back with a candied apple in hand.
そんなことないだろ
いや、宿題だってなんだかんだ言って手伝ってくれるよ。
Hayato interjected in Yu's defense.
ああ、それずるいんじゃない？
自分でやりなさいよ。
Satsuki came back.
これってどうやって食べればいいんです？
You bite it. Do you not know how to eat an apple? It's just the same thing, except now it's on a stick. Ma'am? Satsuki stood frozen with a candied apple in hand, looking like a lost and confused
普
child.
通にかじればいいんだよ。
ほら、こうやって。
You munched on her own candied apple.
こ
Satsuki put the flat part of the candy on the top of her mouth.
それはそれでそのまま噛んじゃいなよ。
Hayato chuckled as he explained.
その方が食べやすいだろうしね。
Satsuki bit into the crunchy candy.
さっちゃんもたこ焼き食べます？
Sadie, don't you try to sabotage her. Karen came back and presented Satsuki with a takoyaki skewer.
おひな、飴が口の中に入ってる時にたこ焼きはダメでしょ。
Meguri chided Karen.
美味しそうだし。
いや、やめてお願いだから。
Satsuki finally broke through the candied shell to the apple itself amidst that exchange.
ああ、美味しい。
だろ？
リンゴの甘みがさらに増して、こんな風になるんですね。
う。そろそろ甘酒をもらいに行くか。
そうね。
The gang headed to the main shrine building. Kensei and Mia were there scooping sweet sake out of a cauldron roasting on a fire. I'm guessing Satsuki probably won't be able to have any. They're gonna be like, oh, Satsuki, you know better. You can't be indulging. But then again, I haven't been great with my predictions so far, so we'll see.
こんにちは。
やあ、君たちか。
甘酒もらいに来ました。では、一列に並んで。
Everyone did as they were told.
おや、さつきさんも。
はい。
Satsuki glanced at the ground.
一人一杯ですよ。
Each of them took steaming porcelain bowls from Mia.
ありがとうございます。
Naoto took a sip of the thick and cloudy sake. Wave of sweetness swept over his tongue, his core heating up in concert.
あったまるね。
Karen and Meguri looked at each other and nodded.
舞台は何時からですか？
Naoto turned to Kensei.
日没後だね。それまでにいろいろと準備があるから。
じゃあそれまでは適当に回ってみるか。
回るというほど。
Satsuki was dragged away from the crowds by Ayato.
リヒトさん？
僕たちだけで少し回ろう。
Hell yeah. Ayato stared off into the distance.
ええ。
Satsuki reciprocated his grip with a firm squeeze.
何か見てみたいものはあ
Hell
る？
yeah. She surveyed the stalls. Most of them serve food.
あそこは何を売っているのでしょうか？
Thus, Satsuki ended up pointing to the one that caught her eye the most, the one clearly dealing in something else entirely.
なんだろう？行ってみようか。
はい。
The pair checked the stall together, seeing the place was selling accessories.
あれ、おまわりさん。
いや、
Mr. Takayama was there tending to the stall, still in uniform.
おまわりさんがこんなところでこんなことしてていいんですか？
頼まれたんだよ。少しの間だけでいいから店番していてくれって。
ああ、さやさんに頼まれたんですか。
いや、俺は別にさやさんだからってわけじゃなくて。
Satsuki ignored Takayama's little episode and scanned the merchandise. The stall was mainly selling small knickknacks like carved kimono sash holders, hair accessories, and chopstick rests.
こういう彫り物は昔からこの辺りでは盛んだったらしいよ。
そうなのですか？
Satsuki picked up one of the holders. A painstakingly crafted coiled snake was carved into it.
今年の干支だね。
Takayama explained the carving.
すごく細かい作りですね。
僕も何度か挑戦してみたけど、
難しそうですものね。
Satsuki returned the holder to the stall.
絵を描く方がずっと楽だよ。
そうなんですか？
Both sounded extremely hard to Satsuki.
まあ、昔からずっとやってることだからね。
Aito bashfully scratched his head.
こいつはいい景色だからって駐在の屋根にまで登るくらいのやつだからな。
I mean, is he wrong though? Takayama shook his head wearily.
落ちないように気をつけてくださいね。
分かってるよ。
Aito leaned over to escape from Satsuki's scrutinizing stare and hide the scarlet stigma of mortification heating his cheeks.
ほら、こういうのも似合うんじゃないかな。
髪飾りですか？
Aito showed Satsuki a hair clip with a small flower ornament on it. Satsuki played with her bangs. They were quite long, so perhaps a hair clip was indeed just the thing she needed.
ほら、つけてごらんよ。
Aito circled around in front of Satsuki and parted her bangs. She instinctively took a step back.
どうしたの？
いえ、少し驚いて。
Satsuki blushed and stepped forward. The two of them had been doing the boldest things just 3 days ago. And yet, despite that, simply feeling his touch again was positively embarrassing her.
ほら、これでどうだい？
Aito backed off a little. Satsuki felt a little weight on her bangs. She couldn't see it for herself, and so she felt around instead.
とても可愛いと思うよ。
Satsuki's heart skipped a beat. Even without a mirror in front of her, she could tell that she was red as a tomato. Why? Why do I...
で、買うの？
Takayama's rude inquiry interrupted Satsuki's train of thought. In response, she removed the hair clip. Satsuki's voice was laden with sorrow. She didn't have a wallet. She didn't even have money, nor had she ever.
いくらですか？
It was then that Aito stepped in. Satsuki turned to face him.
こういう時は買ってあげるのが男だろ？ってナオちゃんに言われた。
Aito bashfully scratched his cheek.
では、よろしくお願いいたします。
まあ、誰が払ってもいいんだけどさ。
Takayama grumbled.
年寄り連中にはあまり見られないようにしとけよ。男女七歳にしてって言うからな。
わかりました。
Aito handed some coins over to Takayama.
毎度あり。
Aito and Satsuki left the stall, the former several steps ahead of the latter.
リヒトさん？
なんだい？
Aito turned around.
ありがとうございます。私、
Satsuki bowed her head to him.
別にどこにでもあるようなものだし。
それでも、綾人さんにいただいたものですから。
Yeah.
そう。
だから、今度、リヒトさんが描いた絵を見せてくださいね。
いや、だからでつながる意味がわからないけど。
いいじゃないですか。
Satsuki giggled.
そろそろ日も暮れますし、皆さんのところへ戻りましょうか。
ああ、そうだね。
And they're gonna come back to the group, and Karen's gonna be all peeved, like, "Where were you guys, huh? You guys just disappeared, huh? What are you guys doing, huh?"